The late afternoon sun slanted through the sash window of the detached house on Redland Road, casting warm rectangles across the polished oak floorboards. Outside, the street was quiet, just the distant chime of a bus turning onto White Ladies Road and the soft rustle of sycamore leaves in the garden. Inside, the air held that familiar Bristol blend of damp earth, warm radiators, and the faint citrus of lemon. Polish Jane pushed open the front door with her hip, 2 damp towels draped over one arm, the other clutching her phone. Her feet were bare, toenails painted a chipped coral, her green cotton t-shirt clung slightly to her back, still damp from her swim at the Lido. She'd lingered too long in the steam room, laughing with a friend about a lecturer's absurd comment, and now the towels, thick, hotel-style cotton, navy blue with white piping, were heavy with absorbed water. Droplets left a faint trail across the hallway tiles. She padded upstairs, humming, already mentally drafting a witty Instagram story caption, poolside thoughts, Monday deadlines, her pink wide-leg lounge trousers swishing softly with each step. The trousers were soft, stretchy, the kind she'd bought from a pop-up stall at St. Nicholas Market, and she loved how they pulled just right over bare feet. They weren't meant for swimming, but comfort had won over practicality. The master bedroom door stood ajar, as it often did, unless her parents were dressing or resting. Jane pushed it open without thinking. Their bed, always meticulously made, lay in the center of the room, grey linen duvet, ivory throw pillows, a folded cashmere blanket at the foot. Sunlight warmed the pale rug beside it. She tossed the first towel onto the duvet, plop, and then the second, heavier one right on top. It landed with a damp thud. She didn't notice the darkening ring blooming beneath it. She flopped backward onto the bed, phone in hand, ignoring the slight coolness seeping through her t-shirt. Just for a. She thought, long enough to reply to a text, scroll a few feeds. Her bare feet dangled off the edge, toes wiggling. The mattress gave just slightly beneath her, a familiar comfort. She didn't see the second towel slowly weeping moisture downward, through the duvet cover, into the quilted mattress protector, and then, inevitably, into the top layer of the memory foam beneath. Downstairs, the front door clicked open. Her mother had finished her shift early, a quiet day at the Royal Infirmary's admin wing, and came home hoping to retrieve a patient file she'd forgotten. She hung her coat, slipped off her shoes, tan loafers, slightly scuffed, and headed up, humming the same Radio 4 theme tune she always did when tired but content. She pushed the bedroom door open and stopped the bed. Too deep, spreading stains like ink blots on parchment marred the pristine grey duvet. One had already seeped through to the white sheet beneath, visible at the edge where the duvet had shifted. Water glistened faintly in the crease of the fabric her breath caught. Not anger, not yet. Disappointment, thick and quiet, settled first. She'd asked so many times. Towels go in the bathroom or the airing cupboard. Not on furniture. Not ever. Especially not on the bed, the one sanctuary in a house that sometimes felt too full, too loud, too shared. She called Jane's name, not sharp, not loud, just firm, Jane. A moment later, Jane appeared in the doorway, phone still in hand, green t-shirt riding up slightly at the waist, pink trousers wrinkled from lying down. Her hair was still damp at the roots, strands clinging to her neck. She smiled, easy, unbothered. "Hey, Mum. You're back early." Her mother pointed, wordlessly, at the bed. Jane glanced over, shrugged. "Oh. The towels? Yeah, sorry, was gonna hang them after I changed. It's just a bit of water. You can chuck the duvet cover in the machine. It's not a big deal." Her mother turned fully to her now. "It is a big deal. That water's in the mattress. Maybe deeper. And it's not just about the bed, it's about respect. For our space. For the effort it takes to keep this house peaceful." Jane's smile tightened. She crossed her arms, a defensive, teenage gesture she hadn't used in years, but it slipped back in like an old reflex. You always make everything so dramatic. It's fabric. It dries. I'm not a kid anymore, Mum. The words hung in the air, light, careless, dangerous. Her mother didn't raise her voice. She never did. But something shifted, a quiet steel entering her posture, her gaze locking onto Jane's with an intensity that made Jane's stomach dip. Don't, her mother said, low and steady, walk away from me when I'm speaking to you. And don't tell me you're not a kid while acting like one. Jane opened her mouth to argue, to justify, to deflect, but her mother moved first. Not aggressively. Deliberately. She walked to the edge of the bed, sat down on the dry corner, and patted her lap. Come here. Jane froze. I am 20 years old. University student. Independent, mostly. And yet, her body remembered. That tone. That gesture. It bypassed logic, went straight to something deeper, the instinctive knowledge that this was serious. That lines had been crossed. Not just about towels, but about tone. About love wearing thin under disrespect. Her feet carried her forward before her mind caught up. Her mother's hands were gentle but firm as she guided Jane face down across her lap. Jane's pink trousers stretched taut over her thighs and backside. The soft cotton did nothing to buffer what was coming. Her green t-shirt rode up slightly, bearing the small of her back to the cool bedroom air. Her heart hammered, not just from fear, but from the sheer, humbling intimacy of it. The scent of her mother's lavender hand cream. The warmth of her thighs beneath. The quiet creak of the bed frame as she settled Jane's weight. The first spank landed squarely, open palm. Firm pressure, a sharp bloom of heat across her left cheek. Of the bed frame as she settled Jane's weight. The first spank landed squarely, open palm. Firm pressure, a sharp bloom of heat across her left cheek. Jane gasped, instinctively trying to push up. Stay, her mother murmured, one hand resting lightly but immovably on the small of her back. Rhythmic. Measured. Not cruel, corrective. Each swat landed with a soft, resonant thwop, the kind that stung deep, radiating warmth that built quickly into a steady, insistent burn. Jane squirmed, fingers gripping the edge of the duvet, her breath coming in short bursts. Tears pricked her eyes, not just from the physical sensation, but from the sheer exposure of it. Here she was, in her silly pink trousers, bent over her mother's lap like she was 16, 15, 12, not the self-possessed young woman she pretended to be in lectures and coffee shops. This, thwack, is for leaving wet towels on the bed after I've asked you dozens of times. And this, firmer now, is for speaking to me like that. With that tone. That disrespect. Jane whimpered, a small, broken sound she hadn't made in years. Her cheeks burned, face and backside alike. Shame pooled hot in her chest. I did this. I chose this. I could have just said sorry. The spanking didn't last long, 30 seconds, maybe 40, but it felt like an eternity of reckoning. When it ended, her mother's hands didn't leave her. Instead, they smoothed the pink fabric gently over her stinging skin, then helped her sit up. Jane sat sideways on the bed, knees drawn to her chest, arms wrapped around them. Her face was flushed, tears tracing slow paths down her cheeks, catching in the freckles across her nose. Her hair stuck to her damp skin. She couldn't meet Mother's eyes. Her mother turned to face her fully now, reaching out to cup her chin, lifting it just enough. I don't want to spank you, Jane, she said, voice softer now, thick with emotion. I never have. But I will every single time you choose convenience over care. Disrespect over love. This house, this family, it only works when we choose each other. Even in the small things. Especially in the small things. Jane swallowed hard. The lump in her throat was immense. I'm sorry, Mum, she whispered, voice raw. I didn't think. I didn't mean to be rude. I was in my head. Her mother nodded, thumb brushing away a tear. No, she said gently. You didn't think. But now you have. Later, after tissues, after a glass of water fetched without being asked, Jane sat cross-legged on the dry end of the stripped bed. Her pink trousers were rumpled, her green t-shirt stained faintly with tear tracks. Her mother handed her a clean duvet cover, ivory, like the old one, but fresh from the linen cupboard. Together, they worked in silence. Jane held the corners taut while her mother smoothed the cover over the bare mattress, now aired, vacuumed, protected by a new, waterproof liner Jane had insisted on buying online, same-day delivery. The rhythmic shush of cotton settling, the snap of elastic corners fitting snugly, it felt like healing. No phones. No music. Just the quiet companionship of repair outside. The Bristol sky darkened. A light rain began, soft, steady, pattering against the sash window, washing the dust from the leaves in the garden. Inside, the radiator clicked softly to life that evening. Jane made soup, the thick, creamy cheddar and leek kind her mother loved. She set the small oak table properly. 2 bowls, spoons warmed in hot water, cloth napkins folded neatly, a jug of filtered water with a slice of lemon floating inside when her mother came downstairs, hair damp from a quick shower, wearing her soft grey cardigan. Jane was waiting. I hung the towels, Jane said quietly, stirring the pot. In the bathroom and the airing cupboard. And, the new mattress protectors delivered. It'll be here tomorrow. Her mother paused in the doorway, watching her. Then she smiled, not the bright, social smile, but the quiet, deep one that reached her eyes. She walked over, wrapped her arms around Jane from behind, resting her chin on her daughter's damp hair for a long moment. Then she squeezed her hand. Good girl. And in that simple phrase, warm, weighted, forgiving, Jane felt it. Not control, not punishment, but love. The kind that doesn't let you drift. The kind that holds you even when it stings until you remember who you are, and who you belong to. The rain kept falling. The house, once damp with carelessness, now held only warmth.